Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. If you are just joining us, currently FPX as well as Vici are tied up 1-1. This is the last game that these two teams will play in the LPL regular season for 2018 Spring Split. Neither of them have qualified for playoffs, but they're giving us a good show here today. Froskeran's already mentioned what FPX need to do in order to pick up a victory before we went to the break, which is make sure they have an easy top lane to play around so they don't get too carried away, put LWX on a leash, and protect Pepper. But for the side of Vici, this is a team that struggled all split. And since they've been unable to qualify for playoffs, they've been constantly subbing out Fire Rain as well as EasyHoon. Throughout this series though, we know that Fire Rain is sitting backstage in the room practicing and getting ready, but they stuck with EasyHoon for all 3 games. They're not going to make any substitutions coming into game 3.
They want to win. It's the last time that they're going to get to play on the stage for, as Don was talking about, a couple of months. We start back up in June. They're not making a playoff run, so they don't want to end as the worst team in the LPL, which right now their record is 2-16. TOP have the next lowest record at 3-16. So that's what they want. They want to tie it up.
And a win here could potentially help them out with that. Not only be tied up with TOP, but also they would have taken down a team that narrowly missed playoffs. And if that's the case, they could have been a team that just narrowly missed playoffs. Was not the case for Vici this split. Is EasyHoon really the mid laner that they should be looking towards? Because we've seen Fire Rain, we've seen EasyHoon, and they've had some success with Fire Rain in the mid lane, but they're still sticking to EasyHoon, so it seems like that's the player they want to go towards. But he hasn't had the best of splits.
He's been fairly weak, is probably the nicest way to say it, and a lot of it is because EasyHoon's style doesn't fit what Vici require him to do. Thing is if you're going to build a team around EasyHoon, then you need to get a superstar somewhere else on the roster, because he's not going to be that. He's an excellent supporting cast member, but he's not the main actor, which is why they picked up Swift. But EasyHoon Swift, they joined mid-split, maybe the synergy wasn't there. It's starting to turn up, but week 10, last day, a little bit late.
Yep. It seems like they tried to build around Swift, and we haven't seen Vici build around a jungler properly just yet. It's been quite some time since they've been able to find that.
But when you have Dandy, Bengi, and Swift, and you get relegated from the LPL, I have a couple of questions.
Which is why I'm saying they haven't been able to build around their jungler, because they've had these 3 players come and go throughout the roster. Now Swift's here, but they haven't been able to find success with these junglers. Is the problem coming with that jungle position, or Vici just not be able to build around those jungles?
I think the problem is pretty systematic with Vici. They've repeatedly failed over multiple splits. The hope is that this is the roster that they stick with, that they're going to invest and develop this talent, because I think Swift can be the answer, but it's because EasyHoon is changing.
Well, we're about to get into game number 3, so I just want to ask you before we get into that match, who do we look towards for Vici? If they have one player who carries this match, who is it going to be?
Swift.
Is that Swift? Well, Swift, that's who we always look towards Vici. That's why I always ask that question. Let's send it over to our casters to take it away for game 3.
Thank you so much. And Swift, the jungler. He got his Nidalee in game 1, and no coincidence, they did win that game 1.
Oh, yeah. When you take Swift completely out of game 2, however, we do see what happens to Vici, because he was completely tracked by Pepper. And I do agree there's a lot of systematic issues with Vici right now, but I just want to see them play with a bit more fire. If you look at the past 2 games, they've never been the one initiating any fights. And if you want a statistic, if you only counter-initiate, your win percentage is about 12% for a team fight. That's something that's been accumulated by our stat members at PentaQ. If you go on the one, if you're the one starting the fight, you're usually the one winning it.
Well, I'm not sure if that's an LPL-specific stat or a playstyle stat for our league, as Swain is first picked up by Vici, who find themselves on blue side. But you always have to wonder about this Vici team, because historically, they have been death by 1,000 paper cuts. Yes. They have been the most Korean-style, LCK-style slow macro. They don't play to make the enemies make mistakes. They play to not make mistakes themselves, which is almost antithetical to the LPL.
Even in this series, you can see FPX played poorly game 1, they lost. They played stable game 2, they won. Do you really credit Vici that much for their wins? I don't think so. So I really want to see Vici just try to show more initiative, try to hone in on a strategy, be the one that's going aggressive, because otherwise you're just standing there and waiting for the enemy team to finish you off. We've heard Cool in the mic check saying that if you don't initiate, you're just giving chances to the enemy team.
Now we do have the Kai'Sa locked in. I heard that. And we've seen so much Kai'Sa today. It has been great.
Yep,
and now it's going to be locked in. This is my 4th Kai'Sa game to cast today.
You must be pretty happy.
I am having a great time. Look, I am a veritable font of knowledge on this champion. I know all the things.
Okay, I'm going to have you dropping some of that knowledge when we jump into game.
I will certainly attempt to. But we've got the Trundle Kai'Sa, which is a pretty good combination. Thresh is the answer, though, as Snow and Caveman looking to take something a little bit safer in this game 3 so far. We'll see if that's going to be the Tristana lock, though.
You don't really need the Tristana now. I would actually prefer the Skarner just for the entire CC chain, the roller coaster that you can have. Tristana actually isn't, traditionally speaking, one of Snow's strong champion. It has been the Caitlyn and the Jhin. So this is a bit more like him. I really didn't understand the Tristana Hoover, probably just a misdirection there. And we do see the Trundle, most likely for the jungle, and could still be the top lane, but most likely for the jungle and the Kai'Sa for FPX.
That is a bold statement, Mr. Clement. That is bold indeed. Braum locked in for Crisp in the bottom lane. You could be right. It's possible. It could go to Cool in the mid lane. I don't know. Yeah. But we've got the Zac ban away for Swift right now. Swift is actually ending up on the bottom half of the picks for Vici, along with EasyHoon, assuming that Swain goes back to Meow in the top lane.
The question really becomes, what does he run into the Trundle? Because Trundle is incredibly powerful as an early mid-game champion. There is no champion that can really beat him out in a duel. So what you want to see is either a better team fighting tank or something that can gank lanes repeatedly. You have to have a different style than the Trundle. You can't butt heads with him.
We'll see what that's going to be. We know Swift has got many styles, though his favorite is to butt heads with the enemy jungler. Though that's not going to be an option in this game, as you just mentioned. Taliyah banned away from Cool. Let's see if they save that counter pick for Gimgoon or if they save it for Cool instead.
The more I think about it, I really like the Thresh reaction to it, the Kai'Sa, just because he has a lot of short CC cooldowns. When Kai'Sa does come into the backline, you can still kind of take her out of the game instantly.
The box is also a great way to keep her locked down. Her Void Rush is still a dash. Ooh, Gangplank picked up by Gimgoon. Meow
Wow.
calls it.
Yeah, this is like
the
a teaching. This is a teaching lesson for him. You know, you played the matchup the first game. I'm gonna do it here in the third.
Do you reckon he takes teacher Fiora, headmistress Fiora, or whatever it is?
He could.
Yeah,
he's gonna give him a spanking. You know, you're staying here after school, man.
And Lee Sin is the pickup for Swift in the jungle. An old legacy pick for the jungler of Vici. We've seen Flawless make absolute waves with the champion. Can Swift have a similar performance, as Orianna is the answer for Cool? And it looks like that Kai'Sa is going down into the bottom lane.
Yep, and we have very different compositions coming out from each side. This is going to be the last game for them so far, so a lot of experimentation. I'm really excited for the top lane matchup, especially Meow had showcased a lot of good play on Fiora before he was, kind of sidelined for long on the roster. And also Swift on Lee Sin. This is going to be a treat. Now, Lee Sin, even though it's a champion that likes to butt heads with other people, it's also a champion with a lot of mobility. And he's one of the champions that can get away from Trundle even when he throws his pillar down.
Yeah. Very easy to ward hop. Well, not as easy as it used to be, but certainly still something that we could see as the coaches shake hands for the final time of the 2018 Spring Split. This is the last game. It's all on the line here for these two teams. They've been, as we already heard from the analyst desk, they've already been eliminated from playoffs. There's no chance that they can affect the standings whatsoever. This is for the players. This is for the teams. This is for the fans.
Yep,
how will they show up in this final game?
This is for not being the bottom team of the LPL.
Pepper with a laugh and a smile. After how he looked in the beginning of Game 2, it's good to see him picking up a more positive mentality coming into this.
Definitely. He's on a very good pick. This is a pick that you can't bully people with. There's nobody that can go up against the Trundle in the early game, not even the Olaf. That's why we see him being run as a counter so often.
We'll see how his execution is getting into this final game, because his opponent is none other than Swift. At a time, one of the best junglers in the LPL, originally making his entrance into the league with Doinby on the Chaogu Reapers, but that was a long time ago. Now he finds himself next to a world champion on EasyHoon, and my, how the times have changed. But that said, the more they change, the more they stay the same. We are loading onto the Rift here. It's Vici versus FPX. Game 3 starts now. LWX fans still cheering along as ever as he's now taking this Kai'Sa here. Nice deep yawn. Makes sure that he's in a pretty good mood, especially riding that Game 2 momentum.
Yep, but he is on a champion that, even though it doesn't have a gap closer, I would say is still fairly dangerous for LWX. It fits his shotgun style, and with that killer instincts, you can go straight to the back line and try to.
What was it we just heard from the analyst desk? Make sure Pepper is safe. Here, I've got it written down. Give FPX easy top lane, protect Pepper, and put LWX on a leash.
Well, they did 2 out of the 3. What more could you ask for?
Mathematically, yeah. They're right there, just not quite. Oh, as Meow already trading with Gimgoon, hits a vital, but bone plating will absorb some of that damage.
I really don't see killer instincts as being a gap closer, so that's probably okay. Like, you only get one use of it in a team fight.
It is pretty long cooldown.
Well, this is interesting.
You look so confused. Why do you look so confused?
What?
You're frowning and squinting at the screen right here.
They were showing the gold tallies for both of the top lanes, and it was a kleptomancy battle to see who could steal more gold.
Ooh, actually blocking and getting both vitals there. Meow. Getting a pretty good trade, taking that soaring sword, not the headmistress. Sad face.
Yeah, it was a really fun tally in the top lane right there. Actually, only kleptomancy for the Gimgoon.
Oh, auto attacks. Going to be trading onto Caveman, who steps forward with that flay. But when it's all said and done, level 2 picked up by the bottom lane of Vici first. So perhaps this could be Snow trying to put LWX behind early on and prevent that from happening. Swift, already topside, full health, double buffs.
Yep, strong level 3 gank coming in. This is at least going to burn a flash from Gingu.
That's the barrel. He places another behind him. The wave is pushing in. He's spotted now. Riposte. Not going to do too much. Slow, and a sonic wave just for damage.
Great play by Gimgoon, actually catching Meow as he was dashing in. Able to explode the barrel mid-air and then slow down the Fiora.
And that means that top lane is safe for at least a little while longer. Pepper gets to push in and invade. As Cool has got to now back away from Swift, paths around the visions of Empire. Caveman is there, the play misses, Cool flashes, the command attack, and Auto trades it. First blood to FPX, but it's a 1-for-1 so far. They chase onto Swift. He's trying to get out of there. All it takes is one, but nobody can get in range. Frozen Domain as he continues to chase the slow. He dashes out. Pillar not quite ready. There it is. They're going to catch up to Swift. He's stunned. The kill is passed over to LWX. 2 kills to 1, FPX.
Yep, even though Vici do have the earlier roam, they don't land all of their skill shots necessary. And then FPX are able to chase in and finish off most of the kills right there. So, you know, I think it was a good idea on Vici's side. You can really see Swift's idea of picking the Lee Sin into the Trundle. He's going to gank you heavily. He's going to always be there first in terms of the ganking power. But in terms of raw stats, the Trundle's always going to win out. If you let Trundle finish the fight, he's finishing it with a victory.
Absolutely, at least that time, once he's able to get the long Frozen Domain and, of course, the cooldown on that Pillar of Ice to finally catch up and pick up that kill. The worst thing, too, for Vici is that the kill ended up onto LWX's Kai'Sa. As, whoa.
That's a flash.
You can channel Hex Flash while Dark Passaging? That is the coolest! Caveman, you clever, clever man.
Wow, that was amazing to watch. Actually, the first time I've seen that directly being played in the LPL.
Yeah. Still, though, FPX, they back up their bottom lane. They don't let themselves get caught off by this new and fascinating strategy. That is so awesome.
Yeah.
If you wait, I guess because Dark Passage isn't technically a channel or a spell activation, and it sits out for such a long duration. So you Dark Passage, then Hex Flash, and then as you channel the Hex Flash, they have to get the travel time right. That is cool.
Yeah, that's very cool, man. It's the first time I've seen that. Like, great innovation coming out from Easyhoon.
That's a Hex Flash. Hook right into Cool. Well, no, that's Cool in the mid lane. Good play as they try to mob on the Caveman. 1, 2, 3. He's stunned. Dark Passage again gets Swift into the fight. He's doing a lot of AoE damage, and so too is Easyhoon.
This is good anticipation from Pepper and Crisp at the same time. All these two ganks, Vici has been the one to get to the punch first. They are there, they want the ganks, but Trundle and Chris coming in really changes the dynamic of the game. Vici, they can go for the catches, but they can't go for the extended fights.
That's where we start to see FPX stand up just a little bit more. Swift is now headed towards the top lane. Again, ganking non-stop. Gimgoon, he's got 1 Ruby Crystal and that Sapphire Crystal.
He is keeping the wave in a very good position for himself, a very safe position.
Making sure there's as little chance as possible of him being dived. Now the Grand Challenge is ready. Gimgoon just ticks over to level 6 and is able to sidestep that lunge. So absorbing just a little bit of damage, preventing him to be safe. Swift is wasting a lot of time up here. And look at Pepper on the other side. He's looking for a gank bottom.
This is a very difficult gank in the top lane.
Snow steps up, Frozen Domain, Dark Passage, and the Cannon Barrage. It's used offensively. Now that means Gimgoon is safe to dive as there's no Cannon Barrage. Teleport from EasyHoon to get in. It's Swift who starts things off. And the Ignite, the auto attack, it's not enough. Nevermove pulls him in. Good attempt. But finally, Vici will be able to pick up the kill.
Yeah, Gimgoon really out of sync with his teammates right there. Drops a Cannon Barrage, I would say, a bit fruitlessly in the bot lane. And actually, that is what signs his death warrant in the top lane as well. So Vici looking at Gangplank, you know, hey, no ult, we can just go on him straight away. I feel like if he had his ult up, it would actually just have been fine. Yeah,
that's the team trust fall. I see Trundle is ganking bottom. I don't know where the Lee Sin is. I have to guess that he is in the jungle or ganking somewhere else on the map. Tragically, that guess did not work out for him this time, and you can already see the CS difference. Look at that. Swift is forced to farm mid lane while EasyHoon is recalling. He's 20 CS down, and Pepper and Cool are right there stealing his Raptor camp. Level 6 to level 4.
And they're just going to try and get that Kai'Sa in the bot lane extremely fed. There's no way that Swift can go back towards the bot lane. His jungle, he has to assume it's been completely warded out. So you can see what he's doing right now. His only option is to still go top again and again. They have to have all their marbles into Meow.
And we do have to commend Swift for realizing this. He is still a very intelligent player, even if he finds himself with a low win rate in the LPL on Vici. But now Pepper shows himself in the bottom lane. He's got the subjugate. It's a cannon wave. The target is Caveman initially. He's stunned, but a good hook hits onto LWX. Pepper, subjugate heals up, and he's able to back out of there. LWX lands another stun. Doesn't have level 6, so no killer instinct to chase, but here comes Cool. He's trying to clear out this minion wave. Finally, it's 4 members going over the top of it. Shockwave, and Cool slams Jin to the ground.
Yep, that was a 30-second dive and not particularly well executed, but still for Vici Gaming, there's absolutely no response. Now, they do need to look for something in the top lane. They can't just let 2 kills in the tower go.
Swift will show himself at the Krugs, but Gimgoon is so far back. He's not making the same mistake twice. And look at that. They're even going to give solo turret gold over to LWX on this Kai'Sa. 1, 0, and 2. Another 2 kills onto Pepper and another kill on Cool. It's FPX very heavily indexing on their middle and bottom half of the map.
Yeah, and this is just Gimgoon, you know, reading his Korean counterpart like a book. He knows that his only option is to go towards him in the top lane. He just doesn't show himself. Like, he's telling Meow, you can hold the wave. You can do whatever you want. I'm not stepping into this lane.
He is, of course, a gangplank, so he doesn't have to worry about it too much as he can get a lot of gold back. He's Kleptomancy gangplank, too.
Yep. And for Meow, he is taking press the attack, so he does need to leverage that extra damage in the early game, or else Kleptomancy is simply a better build. It gets you your late game items faster.
And this is where we have to contrast the choice between Vici and FPX. Swift taking a ganking style, trying to open up the map. But currently, LWX is starting to get big. Cool is starting to get big. Pepper is starting to get big. The only lane he can go to is Meow on that top half of the map, but Gimgoon is playing so safe. There's really nothing Swift can do. And we were just commending him for being an intelligent player with Vici, but it's going to have to take something genius to try to open up this early game back in Vici's favor.
And Gangplank is still 200 gold above the Fiora.
Yeah.
So even that investment in the top lane is not paying up for Vici. They're falling very, very far behind.
LWX a full 1,300 gold ahead. That's a full BF sword if he so chooses. Swift, don't you dare. Don't you possibly dare. Okay. Oh, he still goes in. No, Swift, what are you doing? He's actually trying to force the flight. All right, EasyHoon will pin Chris back against the wall and the Visions of Empire. Teleport coming in from Meow. Is it going to be completed? Canceled at the last second and matched by Gimgoon.
Double cancels there. EasyHoon not able to corral the rest of FPX toward the right side of the map. Good play, good attempt from Vici, but ultimately isn't enough power really from their bot lane to hold that play down.
And still, we're seeing Vici react to FPX's plays. They aren't being the proactive team in this series, and it's costing them. They tried to turn that fight around, but They just weren't able to make it there in time. Did not have enough damage to to kill Crisp, despite him being caught out of position. Now that those teleports are off cooldown, these lanes are going to become a little bit more volatile. Pepper's actually roaming up towards this top half of the map, spotted out by a ward.
They're going to try to trade and chomp down on Meow's CS score. He's not going to be able to pick up a lot of this big minion wave if the bot lane is there to pressure the turret at the same time.
Oh, look at the combo. Wow. The Pillar of Filth actually applies Plasma if you displace. Oh, the final bolt is not enough. Yeah, if you actually displace someone, it's considered hard CC. So you just have to place it directly under the Fiora. From outside
great
of vision.
trundle usage.
Yeah.
Now, we've been seeing this quite a lot. It works with the Swain passive Ravenous as well. Will pull someone back if you hit them with the pillar.
Move. Yeah. And LWX trying to trade turrets here with Vici, and should be able to. There he goes. Looks like it. I believe that's actually the Gwinsu's first.
Yeah. Aren't you the fountain of knowledge?
I should be. Yeah. So he's got the recurve bow and a pickaxe, but he also has a dagger. So I'm not entirely sure. Usually you would just get a longsword and try to go for the Q evolve first, but
this is,
I don't know, LWX.
Yeah, this looks like a plasma build to me.
Yeah.
It's like Gwinsu Nashers.
No death stance though. Ooh, cool. Caught Crisp right there. Visions of Empire. Trying to zone him back in, but Crisp still doesn't show himself. And of course the plasma build, very strong on Kai'Sa because of her passive, that second skin.
It really does have no internal cooldown, 20% execute as well.
And now 5 members, nearly 4 members. Shockwave onto EasyHoon, he's pulled back into the mid lane, the wave pushes up, and they're going to get some chip damage. They already took the Rift Herald earlier, I didn't even see when that happened. A big charge onto the turret, and Dancing Grenade does a bit. EasyHoon pops the Demonic Ascension and Curtain Call as they're going to try to get a few revenge kills. Heal to get Crisp out of the radius, even flashing away from the Sonic Wave. LWX and FPX are in and out.
FPX are exploiting the fact that Vici Gaming, they don't have a lot of way clear on their team composition. If you look at their AD, it's a single target Jhin. If you look at EasyHoon, he has to go very close to the minion wave to actually do anything. So good leveraging on the weaknesses of Vici's composition and instantly getting a tower for it.
Now that is the Gwinsu's finished immediately by LWX. Very aggressive build path. But that means that you do get one of the most expensive core items of the on-hit Kai'Sa out of the way very early on. So while his initial damage might be a little bit low comparatively to just a one-item power spike, it does a lot later on. But Pepper is caught up to Snow. Dark Passage. Oh, Pillar attempt to knock him up midair.
I don't think that really works. I don't think you can knock someone out of a
displacement
lantern.
During displacement cancels the primary displacement.
So you can actually just pillar someone out of
which is why you can play Kai'Sa, for example, out of air. People who are dashing. Because it applies new displacement that overwrites the original.
That's pretty amazing.
It's pretty crazy. It's very infrequent. That's why Magical Journey is also very funny, because it's in a straight line and it's very slow. So Trundle becomes hilarious because then you just put a pillar right underneath them and they get knocked out of the wall.
It's really good to know. Like, more uses of the pillar every day.
The more you know with Dom. You can also find fun facts about League of Legends in the bottom of a Snapple cap. As EasyHoon, flashes away from the Shockwave. Cool is starting to press forward. It just looks like Vici are slowly losing this game. Oh, Swift able to escape that one, but still the killer instinct. LWX goes in. He's snared on the far side, but they managed to lock down the kill. Caveman is going to be knocked up. Another stun from concussive blows and 2 kills to FPX. And my statement still stands, Clement. Vici just look like they're standing and losing.
Yep, Vici, they have put up no fights. All of these fights really have been FPX being the initiators and just taking whatever they want on the map. Bad reads coming out from Vici, and they're just not able to respond fast enough. I feel like FPX right now, they're just playing for catches. They can do so easily with of course, the Trundle pillar counting as an immobilized.
Tier 2 not going to be finished off. Not enough minions. And like you said, FPX, when they're looking for these fights, there's no way for Vici to get out of there. If Caveman is out of position, there's so much onus on him to protect his team from being caught. But look at the wards from FPX. They see everything. They know when you're sleeping. They know when you're awake.
Ooh, they're basically Santa Claus.
You're exactly right. And they're putting coal in Vici's stocking. there's not going to be another time for Vici to check their stocking until Summer Split.
Bad Santa from FPX, you know, not a very nice guy. It's just the catch potential from FPX is so overwhelming at this point. Vici, they do have a good setup for maybe something like a 4-1 composition, but with how badly the map has been collapsed, it's almost impossible for Meow to actually split push and still have his team in a safe position.
So I actually love LWX's build right now. Triple dagger, dagger, and Gwinsu's. Liam O'Brien would be quite happy with that. There goes the plasma shot. Dragon being started off. Pepper steps forward, level 9 to level 8. And as for they are grouped and ready, Gimgoon has teleport if he wanted to join the fight. That's the 4th bullet. That's the first round of burst. Snow is going to start stacking up to the 4th bullet again. Never move misses. Teleport goes in. Swift tanking. Meow on the side. Dark Passage is going to provide vision, but it's picked up. Ooh, clever, but not enough. Infernal Dragon picked up by FPX.
Yep, if Vici wanted to go in, they needed to start the fight when they had a 5v4 advantage right there, but they were scared off from the left flank. They knew that Meow couldn't go in by himself, and the other members also did not engage from the right side either. So FPX, they're able to push the top lane wave in, get the Infernal Drake, and still avoid the pincer at the same time. So it's just way too much hesitation and not enough action from Vici.
A little less hesitation, a little more action. Could be what Vici need, but for now they need to defend their tier 2. The wave crashes in again. Ooh, and will be broken off by a final auto attack. Swift on the side, the kick, he separates Cool. He flashes back and shields himself up. The support gets pulled in return. And that will be a 1-for-1 support for jungle.
Not enough for Vici Gaming. They do need to look for more kills.
Curtain call. Opens up wide. Killer Instinct over the wall, and that's Cool picking up the kill onto Meow as LWX hops in to help. Sorry, still got WE on the brain.
And you can see Pepper right there zoning in the front lines, trying to get that interrupt onto the Jhin. Another thing you can use the pillar for is to stop anything coming out from those stationary 80 carry ultimates.
18 minutes into the game, this is just snowballing out of control. This is a Kai's dream. Runon's finished already. The Emax first is quite impressive.
Yeah, so what this build is, and this is my explanation for it, is basically if they can get everyone low with the AoE, he can instantly pop every member on the team.
The maximum Q. Well, you need to have the Q evolved for that, so you get double bullets. All right, here's the fight again. Swift from the side. He finds Cool. I mean, it's amazing that he does this, but it's not enough.
Yeah, Cool still has everything, you know, still has the shielding from the Seraphs, and they actually trade jungler for support. At this point, Vici, they know they still need more to get into the game, and that's just a bit of the greed factor into them. They have to go forward. They feel like the game is slipping away.
But that's just it, though, that they feel that they have to do so much. Swift has to make the hero Lee Sin play, sacrificing himself to kick out the mid laner, and it's still not enough? What on earth is it going to take for Vici to turn this around?
Better hero play, I would say. but
yeah, I mean,
honestly,
you're
they're
right,
very far behind at this point.
Yeah. 8,000 gold now. Next dragon going to be coming up shortly. Another Ocean to provide more sustain to an already very healthy lineup. And Baron's up in 40 seconds to further escalate the issue.
You know, I feel like this game is a lot of people picking the champions they want to play on their last game of the LPL.
Yeah.
If you look at the compositions, they're not, you know, you don't usually see this in the LPL. They don't make a lot of sense, but it really is about who, in terms of the game, can actually come up with something cohesive. And I feel like FPX has beaten them to the punch first. They're just going to go super aggressive. They're going to land the pillar onto someone, slow them, and just try to group on and kill them completely. On the other hand, for Vici, I really don't see a game plan for them. Like, what are they actually trying to do with these pieces, these compositions? You know, these are champions they like to play, but it just doesn't work as a assortment.
I mean, look at the gold advantage. 1,600 gold in the top lane, another 1,800 gold advantage for Pepper. 1,200 gold for Cool, and then another nearly 1,800 for LWX. Everywhere for FPX is straight up ahead of Vici by half an item or more. Perhaps the only exception being Crisp as the support. But you're exactly right. Vici, they've got puzzle pieces to 5 different puzzles.
Yeah, it's a difficult puzzle time for these guys. Oh!
Is he pinned against the wall?
Yeah,
there?
that's a 6-second.
He actually is. He's pinned against the wall. He has to stand there and wait for it to time out.
That has to be the best Trundle skin the Constable Trundle because you get the traffic
Whoa,
pillar.
yeah, slow down there, kids.
It's great against Sion as well. Like, it actually has thematic value when you slow a Sion down. It's like, you're going
and then
too
you
fast,
have the
sir.
pillar in front of him. Oh, boy. I've always thought it was funny when the Riot Blitzcrank or Riot Graves play into Sion. Because then whenever you see him using the ultimate, you just flash in front of it. You're the police. You got to stop him.
You know, I always thought that Riot, the company, would be like the guys rioting, but apparently they're the Riot police. You know?
Oh, yeah.
A much more conservative message than I hoped for, but...
Oh, boy. LWX. See, with other
Kai'Sa
players, with other Kai'Sa players, you can tell, right? They land the first hit, and you're like, okay, he's absolutely not going to go in here. Maybe he'll go in if they land a good engage in the front, like SMLZ, Mystic, that sort of thing. With LWX, you never know. He might just be like, all right, I'm going in.
For sure.
He's a shotgun. That's it.
The way you should play the Kai'Sa, however, like, if you watch LWX, you're never going to get it, but the way you should is basically wait for the front line to use all their CC, instantly go into the back line and assassinate people.
Oh, and he's found Swift on the side. Shockwave does even more damage as Pepper kill secures the kill. And now it's 5 versus 4. No jungler for Vici, and FPX are in front of the Baron with a Kai'Sa.
Yep, FPX should actually just try to start this up.
Well said.
Yeah,
that's what they
should.
do.
They don't need to bait here for any reason. They should just start.
Cool starts firing across. Baron is actually secured at 29 health. Crisp in the front with a knockup as Vici trying to force the fight, but there's the Shockwave. This is just a massacre.
Yep, Vici know that they're on the ropes. They're going to go for a Hail Mary and try to come up with the team fight. Cool, however, wasn't even in the brawl. He was standing on the sidelines, and that gave him the perfect Shockwave to clean up the entire fight.
Now LWX rushes forward to clear out the minion wave. Gimgoon using teleport to split push up top and prepare yet another wave. And while they might not be able to end the game, this is absolutely going to be an inhibitor here. Swift is back up along with Snow. They're stepping back against their Nexus turrets, trying not to lose the game, but at this point, they're 13,000 gold down.
Yeah, they only have 3 members, while FPX still has a complete 5. They're going in for another inhibitor tower. There is no defense from Vici, actually.
There's nothing that they can do against this many raw stats. And the scary thing is, FPX have got a lot of gold to spend. They haven't been back in a while. The hook actually lands on the Pepper in the front. LWX baits the riposte out of Meow, yeah.
3-0 and 8 in the stat line. This is still 8.5. This is the weak version of Kai'Sa.
Yes.
But she's still doing work.
60 base AD, 500 attack range, not to mention all the changes to the Q, the W, and the E.
She's much more threatening in the late game. We have seen the SKT game where Bang goes for the backline, instantly gets a triple kill. I mean, they doubled her AP ratio.
It was real close. But yeah, you're absolutely right. I feel like we're going to be seeing a lot of Kai'Sa in the playoffs, and I am so excited for all of it.
And this is why everyone has been picking Kai'Sa in the last week. It's not because she's currently a very strong champion. It's because they want to show their opponents, hey, when you go into playoffs against us, remember, if you're on the red side, you're going to have to ban this.
And meanwhile, Blade of the Ruined King is the next item on hit percent shred Kai'Sa. As a unique choice, to say the least, but not an unwelcome one.
Yeah, incredibly deadly play right there against a team that isn't running a lot of armor. We do see EasyHoon himself, knowing that he is going to be in a frontline champion, picking up a lot of the armor, but the rest of the team, especially the backline, it's going to be completely shredded.
2 inhibitors already down, and a full minute left on this Baron buff. Crisp going to retrieve another minion wave. There's another one on the way. No banner of command, so it is just a standard Baron push, but Vici, they've already got super minions pushing in through the mid lane. And while Kai'Sa might not be great at sieging, if they find a pick, if they find a little bit of damage, it's great at assassinating and picking someone off.
A lot of damage threats on FPX as well. Even if Vici Gaming are able to take
one.
Whoa,
Swift! All right, we talked about hero plays. That was cool, but cool had the flash.
Very good reaction time from Cool, actually.
Evermove pulls him in. EasyHoon goes golden. Knock up. Just a bit too soon. There's the dive into the back line. LWX, he's feeling it. That's 1 kill. That's 2 kills. 3 kills make it 4. How about 5? That good enough for you? 5 kills is my final offer, Clement. because they're turning on to the Nexus. FPX have done it. They have finished the series, and they take the win over Vici Gaming.
And they finish it with style. A final fight and also a bunch of Zhonya's burned at the last second for them. But FPX, they can be glad about their victory over Vici Gaming. They don't have a lot of victories, but it has been looking on the upward trend with Cool so far. In the past 6 matches, they have won 4 of them. They are looking to make a playoff run in summer.
Yes, they certainly are. Already you can see them getting up. Some pats on the shoulders as they make their way over the players. Shaking hands, Vici looking defeated after their split. 2-17, 2 series wins over a 10-week season.
I imagine this was a bit of a fun game for Vici as well. A lot of unorthodox picks coming from them. But we do have to touch upon the weaknesses that we see from the current Vici roster. They aren't the ones to ever take the first move. And that's why sometimes I feel like they're better with Long, the tank player on their team.
That's where we have to look for the growth of Vici. This is a large organization that has been in the LPL for a very long time, getting disqualified and requalifying just in time for the franchising.
Yep.
We know they're going to be coming back. Question is, what roster do they bring? If they bring the same 5 players, what changes do they make so that we don't have another 2-17 split on our hands?
Definitely looking for, I feel like the mid lane is a big one. Crosscurrent has mentioned this multiple times. Easy Hoon, he's a bit stuck in Season 5, much slower player to play. And Cool here with a thumbs up.
Big thumbs up.
He knows he's done work on this roster.
Yeah, it comes in Week 7, Week 8, towards the end of the split to try and revitalize the roster. Does a remarkable job in turning them around, but it's just not quite enough. And they are snuck out of playoffs at the last possible second, 9-10.
Yeah, they actually tied the series score with WE. However, the win-loss plus minuses does go into WE's favor. So FPX, they were literally 1 series away from clinching a playoff spot, or a couple of wins away, actually. Yeah.
All it took was just a few more wins. That close, the team came. Cool on the lineup, trying to get themselves over the line at the end, but they just couldn't do it. Couldn't do it.
No. But
a bit of a tragedy. Still, it's good performance from them. We're going to be seeing more of them in the summer split. But for now, though, it's up to our analysts to break down what exactly happened in that series.
Thank you, Delman. What happened in that series is all 3 of Frostgren's how to FPX win a match came true. They got the Gangplank in the top lane. They got a lot of support to make sure that LPX was on a leash. It was a long leash, Oscar's one of those measuring tape style leashes.
The one where the dog's like, he's like, oh!
Yep, he can go as far as he wants, and you can stop it at any time. And LPX was on a shotgun champion, unlocking Pepper as well.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's the fact that you had the Orianna into the Swain, so Cool had the pushing priority. A skirmish-heavy jungler in Trundle. He wanted to invade. He wanted to catch out the enemy and punish him, and then the Gangplank. Now, the question is, though, do FPX realize what their win conditions are, or do they just happenstance into these types of compositions and it all comes true?
I don't know, you tell me. Did it look like they realized what their win conditions were in that match, or did it just happen for them?
See, I actually err on the side of no. Because the thing is usually with these types of teams where you do have a lot of vocal members, again, my experience comes from a coach, and when a coach is standing behind a team and drafting with them, you'll see this all the time too when you watch the coaches on stage, that they'll be talking to the players and the players will give them a lot of feedback. It's very rare in an instance where a coach is standing behind a team and it's like, you will play this no matter what, and if you don't play this, I'm taking off the belt. Usually it's a back and forth or a dialogue, like, this is what we need, this is what I would like us to play, and then the coach or the player then comes back and says, you know, I'm actually feeling this pick right now, this champion would do really well, we know that they're going to pick this. And I have a feeling for FPX, it's more on that side.
I mean, throwback to SMLZ's first game on Kaiser, where he literally turns to Stake and says, can I play this fine? And he says, okay, sure. And he wins the game with the champion. But FPX were able to win that match, you know. They got the success, they got the key points for success, were able to use it quite effectively to take down Vici. Something Dom said during the cast resonates with me, which was the fact that Vici kind of just lost. They never really made those practice plays to get back to the match, never really made any attempts to make picks or to go for objectives. They just lost the match and kept bleeding out against FPX. Swift, again, was the person we looked towards. He got a couple of kicks to try and start a team fight. He tried to go for that late game sneaky play, but both times didn't work out. And again, it can't always be all eyes on Swift. Eventually, someone else from Vici has to stand up.
But it almost has to be, and this is also then a byproduct of Vici's draft. Yes, Swift is a phenomenal Lee Sin player, but Vici cannot play Lee Sin. Vici cannot play Nidalee. They need to have a Sejuani. They need to have a Jarvan. They need to have this giant go button that forces proactivity on them and has the late game scaling potential to kind of cover all bases. So while Swift is a phenomenal assassin, dueling, quick tempo jungler, it's not in Vici's wheelhouse. They cannot do it, and he needs to change accordingly.
And although Vici only picked up 2 wins during the spring split of the LPL, you have to remember this is a team that came from the LSPL, requalified back into the LPL, and still able to put up a great show in their final match. So hats off to them. But it was Pepper who once again picked up the MVP for FPX. He was unlocked. They allowed him to run loose in the Trundle, 5-0-11, supported LWX fantastically, and picked up the game.
And we've been talking a lot about the new talent coming into the LPL and just how exciting it means for the future of the LPL. And Pepper is one of those guys that you need to keep your eyes on, especially in tandem with Cool. Who he actually reminds me of is old school Loveling. And when FPX are firing on all cylinders, when Cool has control of the mid lane and he's puppeteering the rest of the map, Pepper is usually his right-hand man who's leading the charge, making these aggressive plays. He's effectively the sword for Cool.
And it's good to see Pepper coming back to form, because he was really good at the start of the Spring Split, fell
He was
off
good
during
on
cross
RNG.
conference. Was good on RNG as well, but then now after cross conference didn't look too good, and FPX just barely didn't make playoffs. And I want to ask the question that we were talking about when we started Spring Split, which was FPX. When we talked about them at the start of Spring Split,
They were the real deal!
this was the team that was meant to be what Rogue Warriors are right now. We
Yep.
compared Pepper to the likes of the form that Flawless currently has. We compared the rest of the team to what Rogue Warriors' success has looked like this split. What happened to them, and is that what we're going to be looking towards them improving, moving into the summer split?
The LPL's favorite word, consistency. That was the issue with FPX. They just didn't have the consistency to be the top team, to make the playoff position, and all it means is that time. They just need to bake a little bit more. They're unfinished cookies. They're a little bit soft inside, a little bit too chewy. Give them enough time in the oven, they will be a delicious cookie.
Well, they've got plenty of time. We'll see them again in the summer split. That was their final match in the group stages of the LPL. But we have our undercards done. The 2 matches that we saw today are over, and now the main event's about to start. The final match in the LPL group stage, as well as the only match today that will actually decide where 2 teams will place. On top of that, we've got a familiar face coming back for this match. It's going to be EDG taking on Billy Gaming. We're going to go to a quick break. Back in that match in just a bit.